As mentioned, we work with P&G quite a bit across the last couple of years and have seen good success, and then that drove P&G to invite us over, and we want to share that success and tell you about how we're changing the world one brand at a time, helping brands understand consumers better across a wider range of audience within the brand, and making better data-driven decisions across all of these roles in the organization. Basically, we're living in a different era today. According to IBM, 90% of the data in the world was created in the last 2 years. When you try to analyze it, it's mind-blowing. It's basically telling you that products or systems that were created to understand consumers over 2 years ago were basically created in an era where there was just a fraction of the data. It's just unbelievable. So we now have all this data, and we're just not sure, is it good, is it bad? Obviously, I am on the optimistic side. I think it's great. We have more data to analyze. People are actually sharing what they think voluntarily with us on social media, on reviews. They even call more on the call center because they like to voice their opinions. And then, on the other hand, on the minus side, if we are using some of the systems that were formed before the last 2 years, the traditional systems, the ones that weren't built for those masses of data, we're actually being slowed down by the masses of data, and we're also seeing a statistically smaller portion of the insights, and because of that, we make poorer decisions. So that's the risk, obviously. Just to look at a couple of examples from what we call previous generation solutions that were created over 2 years ago, including methods. If we look at surveys, for example, I've been hearing a lot about surveys in the recent sessions earlier today, and people are talking about what kind of questions to ask and how do I know what to ask, and am I asking the right type of questions? Survey technology today is such that it's definitely very easy for individuals in the organization, a product manager, a marketing manager, to commission a survey. But on the other end, they typically return, a small fraction of the insights. It's a survey, you get little attention from the audience, you can't really ask a lot of questions. And because of that, although it lends itself to individual use, which is great, a lot of people in the organization can get their hands on survey results, it doesn't really move the needle because it's not granular enough. It doesn't help me understand how a specific SKU or my consumer service is going to do better 3 months from now. On the other end, if we look at the top left on bringing in an AI technology into the house to try and understand and decipher the patterns in my data, what people are thinking about, what people are talking about, it's going to take a huge effort on the behalf of the organization. I'm going to have to get my IT folks involved. I'm going to have some data scientists or consumer insights folks involved, train the AI, train the machine. By the time I'm done, there's new capabilities in the market, new products, and it's a vicious cycle that goes on and on again, and I'm just, chasing the 8-ball, and I'm not making any progress. So when I look at that type of a solution, it's very centralized. It doesn't lend itself for a wide use. It's more one service bureau servicing the entire organization and issuing reports that are sort of one size fits all and can be easily customizable or individually leveraged. And basically, where we believe everybody wants to be is at a place on the top right corner of having the masses of business users in our brand accessing individual data they can take action on. But reality in the industry is that they're not. According to our data, brands actually leverage at best 80% to 90% of the insights that exist in their data, in their call center data, for example, or email or past survey, or definitely online in reviews or social media, because they just can't mine it effectively. So where is the promise lying? How do we connect the dots? How do we take a world that is drowning in data, where data is massively growing every day now, and connected to the right people in the organization so they make better decisions. We looked at McKinsey, who is a partner and customer of ours, and looked at how they define agile brands, or brands that are looking to move faster, respond faster to the market needs. And basically the definition is very simple, as it surfaced in one of the recent surveys. Brands that empower decision makers, frontliners, second-liners in the organization in customer-facing roles, innovation, product management, customer service, sales, marketing, to move faster, respond to the market faster, make better decisions, they will win the war. They'll be more agile, they'll be able to deliver more competitive products and services. But when we think about it some more, it means that we need to empower the foot soldiers, the frontliners, the second-liners. We need to arm them with something. We need to give them data that they can act on. We need to give them ammunition. In addition, because it's the front lines, it's people who are not necessarily always are used to making decisions or have the authority to make those decisions. So we need to also empower them to slice and dice the data so they can share it easily with their peers and their managers and drive better decisions, data-driven decisions to move the needle. And by moving the needle, I'm talking about, again, moving the needle on a specific SKU or moving the needle on a specific group of products. So when we kind of sum it up, the slides until now and our conclusion is that to become agile, the review's quest of educating one brand at a time is about helping a wide range of individuals in the organization that are in customer-facing frontline roles get access easily to granular data that they can take action on, they can slice and dice on their own without any need to go to any centralized group, and they can actually share with their peers once they're done slicing and dicing so they can make actionable decisions. So before we jump into an example of what is granular data, I wanted to ask you about one of our customers at Procter & Gamble. It's their paper product category. This is an example, and this thing blew my mind off. I mean, when you look at this, how many topics do you think people talk about in this industry? Paper towels, toilet paper. Anybody wants to take a guess? Let me humor you. It's 41. 41 different topics that people talk about on paper. I mean, if someone twisted my arm, I'd guess maybe 12. But when you look at things like, I'll read it out to you, I don't know if you can see that. Softness, can I buy it economically in bulks? How does it absorb? What's the quality of the perforations? You know, does it come with any smell? Is there any residue? And so on and so forth. When I can look at a single SKU or a group of products or any product in the market and analyze them across 41 different parameters, I can actually take decisions and move the needle. I can say that on this SKU, I need to actually improve perforations. So with that, what I want to do is to show you some sample case studies on how empowering frontliners with granular data can actually make them perform better and make them sell something that's more competitive. So when we look at the product returns use case or quality assurance use case, it's something with a huge ROI. Basically, there's a huge number that is being lost in revenue for retailers and brands every year just because of product returns. Now, brands sell dozens, if not hundreds of products. Retailers sell thousands, if not dozens of thousands of products, how can you really tell which products are the problem child and which of them are returned based on what reasons? Could be anything. But when you can analyze a market like I've shown you before across dozens and dozens of parameters, you can actually see that product defects, missing parts, products that arrive damaged, or maybe even just having the wrong product delivered are reasons, real reasons for product returns, in this case in the outdoor furniture space. And with the right type of technology, you can actually drill down on arrived damaged and know exactly the SKUs, which we obviously don't show because of brand confidentiality, the exact reasons, and the right verbatims that are associated with each SKU and arrived damage and reason, so you can know what you need to fix to lower the return rate for that specific product. And with that, brands become agile and a wide range of people can take action. It's not complex. You don't need to speculate. We spell it out for you. To take a look at the another use case from the skincare industry, we're looking at just competitive analysis. So you have a product and your boss tells you that as a product manager or product researcher, you now need to move the needle. You need to grow sales, you need to improve maybe star rating, where obviously every half a star could be worth millions and millions. How do you know where to start? And again, when you can analyze any SKU in the market across dozens and dozens of parameters from, the perforations, if we look at the paper industry, to, in this case, skin sensitivity is one of the examples, you know what you need to fix. It's kind of hard to see it over here, but basically what you see here are 4 product comparisons, specific SKUs, and each of them on each of the discussion topics that people talk about in the market is showing clearly who's the winner and loser with colors and numbers. Red is obviously bad, yellow is average, and green is good. When you look at column C, you see a product that actually is pretty average, wins a little bit, but then has a problem when applied to sensitive skin. And when you know that this is your problem on a specific SKU, you can fix it. You can become agile, and obviously you can sell more, and you can grow your star rating. Third and last example is from the skincare industry, but also about product launches. So I'm going to shock you and tell you that most product launches fail. It's a pretty beaten up topic. There's different speculation that it's the hype cycle, it's the early adopters, it's the fact that you distribute samples and coupons. It doesn't matter. The short of it is that all product launches start with a happy theme in place. Here you can see a graph of volume of responses or customer opinions or reviews across the sentiment, and you can see that you start really high and sentiment grows, although volume declines. But in the 3rd month of use, when your customers go sort of beyond the early adoption phase and start to experience the longer term impact or usability of a product or a service, suddenly you see a huge decline in the sentiment. And if you're not set for that, if you're not ready for that, if you're not monitoring the market across all of the possible parameters, you're not going to recognize it. And here again, in month 3, if you can recognize that you have a problem with the smell and the value for money and impact on skin sensitivity, or that you leave a residue with this specific product, you don't know necessarily what you need to fix, and you're going to slump into a gradual decline in sentiment, and you're definitely not going to get those 4.5 stars or 5 stars that you shouldn't for. So to sum it up, we're really in a very different era today. There's a lot of data you can leverage, but that data actually negatively impacts existing systems and methods of research, because you get a smaller sample of what you used to get, statistically significant, and you just see a smaller part of the world. Like we said before, you see maybe 10 to 20%. Unless you can actually figure out a way to mine the data more effectively and also push it out to a wider audience in your brand, in your organization, so they can act on it quickly and without the need to wait in line for any type of centralized organization. Just a couple of slides about reviews. Reviews actually, shockingly, does exactly that. We offer you a piece of software that anyone can log in with a username and password. It's a software as a service type of a solution, and it comes built in with all the data you need to analyze the market based on either data that you upload or data that we get online from reviews, from social media, from online sources. We typically like to be modest. We get close to maybe 100% of the insights in the data automatically, but we set ourselves, when we talk about it publicly, around the 90% mark. And again, the cool thing is that anyone can use it and doesn't need to speak to IT or consumer insights. It's not a big decision-making to get our software in. And that's exactly how we started with Procter & Gamble. We sold to one product category. Today we have, I think, 14 different product categories or markets where Procter & Gamble are using our technology just because they've seen it servicing the frontliners. The reason it's so scalable is that behind the scene there's a self-training AI mechanism that actually recognizes all the different variations that people talk about the same thing, which is the challenge with training existing AI solutions. When I talk about my phone battery, I can say that the battery is weak. I can say that my phone doesn't last, for an entire day. Or I can say my phone just died on me. It's all variations of the same thing, but they're said so differently that it confuses most AI systems unless they're really heavily trained, which gets us back to using a centralized group of trainers, which is costly and lengthy and expensive. And because of our unique technology, we're able to decipher all the insights from the entire market based on any type of data, internal or external. That's it for me. I want to thank again Charlie and his dedication and Procter & Gamble for their friendship. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.